good guys, it's Savage247 here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to set up a steering wheel and pedals to play GTA 5 online on your PS5. I could not believe this actually worked. It is absolutely incredible. I'm going to show you how you can set it up as well. There's going to be no waffling here, so let's just get straight on into it. Let's go. With the setup I'm about to show you, you will be able to drive and use all of the regular controller functions as usual whilst using the wheel and pedals. All of the buttons on the wheel correspond with how the controller usually works. Up on the D-pad brings up the phone. I've got these pedals set to my horn and siren for any emergency vehicles, and this button here is my rear view. I've got the enter button programmed to change my POV while I'm driving. I can use the right stick on the controller whilst driving on the wheel to look around. It's just the perfect setup. In addition to that, you will also be able to get out of the car and run around on foot, blast down NPCs with your favorite rifle and all of that good stuff with your controller without having to switch any cables around. Switching from wheel to controller is seamless as they're both active at the same time. It's just a case of picking up the controller or getting your hands on the wheel. There is no lag with this setup, and honestly there's no better way to experience driving in GTA, especially with some of the cars that I'm going to be talking about later. You will never want to drive in GTA again without the wheel. I've had a lot of comments in my live streams claiming this is fake, but watch the full video and I'll show you exactly how it is done. To get this working is pretty complicated, which is why I'm making this guide as simple as possible, breaking it down for you, because this took me weeks to figure out, even after I'd found all the little gadgets you need to set it up. As I just said, there's a couple of gadgets you need in order to get this to work, as well as some tricks and methods to make sure it does actually all work once you've got all the parts together and get it all working perfectly. I had to scour the internet searching for various pockets of information because there's no definitive guide on how to actually do this, which is why I'm here today to help you get set up with your wheel in GTA on the PS5. I genuinely don't think there's anyone else out there in the world with this working, so hopefully this guide will get you set up and you can enjoy this just as much as me, because trust me, there's no turning back. There's no turning back. So let's get into everything that you need. First up, obviously you need a wheel. I've got the Logitech G29. This is an official PlayStation licensed wheel. I cannot guarantee that any other wheel will work. You will have to try and test it out for yourself if you have a different wheel. I know there are other PlayStation licensed wheels which probably will work. Make sure you test that for yourself. But just remember, for this guide, I will only be referring to the Logitech G29. Now, most importantly for this setup, you need to make sure the top switch on the wheel is set to PS4. If you have it set to PS5 or PC, it will not work. Second, you'll need a PS5 controller with a cable. The cable is very important. Don't forget the cable. The third thing on the list is this. This is the first gadget that you have to get your hands on. This is the Rear Snow S1. I will have this linked in the description for you. As I said, it's pretty complex. Even though you have the gadgets, there's also an app you need to download and connect this device to, which I'll explain a little bit later. So make sure you take note on all the details. You'll probably want to save the video and come back to it as well if you're planning on putting all of this together. And the second gadget you'll need is the Be Savior P5, mate, if you want to get a good look at that. I will also link that down in the description below. Right, so you've ordered everything, you've got all the gadgets. What now? Well, first you need to set up your PS5 correctly by turning off the Bluetooth. In order to do this, plug your controller into your PS5 with the cable. Remember the cable. Make your way into the PS5 settings menu, scroll on down to accessories, then within general you're going to go to advanced and you're going to turn off Bluetooth. Mine's already turned off, but if you are doing this for the first time, this will restart your PS5, so just go ahead and do that. The reason you have to do that is because if at any point your controller just decides to randomly connect via Bluetooth whilst you're using the wheel, for example, the cable comes loose, which happens all the time, you will have to restart your PS and set everything up again from the start. So this is a very vital step. Make sure you turn off that Bluetooth. So next you have to prepare each of these devices. The Rear Snow S1 and the P5, mate, will come with instructions on how to update the firmware and set them correctly for your console. Personally, I had to update the firmware on the S1, but the P5 Mate works straight out the box without any updates. If you have issues with either of these, both the manufacturers provide instructional videos on their respective websites. You'll be able to search those up in your own time once you have your hands on these. Your PS5 is restarted, Bluetooth is off, your P5 Mate and your rear snow are both prepped. What you need to do is unplug your controller from the PlayStation and grab your P5 Mate. The white cable it comes with goes into this end, which is the narrow end of the device, so just plug that in there, and the other end goes into the PlayStation. Next, you'll need to get hold of the rear snow S1, grab the cable that comes in the box, and you'll put the chunky end into the bottom of the P5 Mate, which is the wide end, and the small end goes into the back of the rear snow S1. Now you have those connected correctly, it's time to plug in the controller and the wheel. Just make sure your wheel is set up and connected to the pedals and secure to your desk before all of that, because as soon as this goes in, it may start calibrating itself. Okay, so first we're going to plug in the controller. This goes into the single port on the left side of the rear snow. That is, this side here has one single port. Just drop that in there. The wheel plugs into the bottom side of the rear snow on the right hand port. That is that here. There's two ports on the bottom. The wheel goes into the right side only. It will not work if you plug them in any other configuration, so this has to be copied exactly. And there you go, the wheel has just started calibrating itself as soon as we've plugged that in. When the rear snow is first plugged in, you'll see a blue light which turns to a white light. It will beep a couple of times, then the light will turn red and then settle on a coloured light. This is the part where you need to download the rear snow manager app. I use an iPhone, so I downloaded it from the App Store. There are instructions how to connect it, and once you have connected your phone to your device, you are almost ready to go. Within the app, there are a few things to do. It will look a little bit different to this when you open it for the first time. First, go to the settings wheel in the bottom right, then through to the global settings, scroll to the bottom to the boot mode and select PS5 P5 Mate. Next, go to the manager tab and hit the plus icon. From here, select the PS4 tab, which is now in the bottom right. Then tap the wheel tab at the top in the center and choose Need for Speed Heat from this list. This is the best preset and the only one that allows you to use the wheel and the controller in perfect harmony. Once this is selected, technically the wheel should work once you load into GTA Online. If for some reason it's not connecting yet, unplug the P5 Mate from your PS5, plug your controller back in directly to the PS5 and turn the console off. Then plug the P5 Mate back into the PS5, plug the controller back into the S1, manually press the on button on your PS5, and this should get you all reset correctly. Essentially a full reset from step one. When everything is lined up, the light on the S1 will correspond with the color next to the profile you've made in the rear snow app. To be 100% sure that everything is connected correctly, you just want to press the home button, scroll along to the accessories, press X. If it comes up looking just like you see on my screen where it just says controller, it's connected correctly. If it says anything else, you will need to start again. There are many more custom features to improve the experience and the feel of the driving itself within the Rear Snow app. On the profile you've created, you'll see an edit button. If you press this will take you into another menu to customize individual buttons on the wheel to correspond with controls in the game and on your controller. However, the game changer for me was the more menu within here. Now this can really make or break the driving experience, and over the last year of using the wheel, I've been tweaking these settings to create the absolute best driving feel for this setup. If you want to download my personal driving settings, they are available within my online store, linked in the description below. Otherwise, it's just a case with messing around with them as you go, finding your preferred setup for your personal driving style. Finally, I'm going to show you some gameplay with the wheel and the controller being used at the same time, and how you can perfect this and have the best experience in GTA 5 with a wheel on the PS5. Okay, so my favorite car without a doubt is the new Tampa GT that just came out in the recent GTA Online Money Front DLC. This has such a lovely organic feel to it. It feels like we're driving back in GTA 4, which, let's be honest, absolutely had the best ever GTA driving mechanics of all time. Let's just pray GTA 6 will be going back to that style of driving rather than the extremely arcadey feel of the majority of the cars in GTA 5. This version of the Tampa has no upgrades at all. It's a very raw driving experience. We're just going flat out through the county here, pedal to the metal. Let's switch it into first person. Like I said earlier, this is mandatory, honestly, when you're using the wheel. It doesn't get any better than in first person when you're actually in control of the car in this way. And, well, that's all come to an abrupt end right there. Put our foot down again. We're out on the sand. We're spinning all over the damn place. And when I say I love the way this feels, it's because it technically has awful handling, but that... ouch. That is what makes it so realistic. Alright, so we're jumping out of the car here. It's time to switch it up a little bit. Let's get our hands on something else. As you can see, the controller works perfectly. What you might find is that if your wheel is slightly off center, it won't let you walk around naturally whilst using the analog sticks. I'll show you what I mean here. So I've got the wheel off center. As you can see, I'm kind of stuck and can't turn using the analog stick. But now when I straighten up the wheel, you can see I'm able to use the analog sticks perfectly as you would without the wheel connected. Alright, let me think here what we're going to call out. Let's get on the phone to the mechanic.
Hi. Hey. What you need, boss? Some wheels? I can bring them round.
How about this beauty, the new Viper, the absolute fastest car GTA has ever seen. Let's take this for a cruise. This thing belongs out on the highway, so that's exactly where we're going to go first. Let's just get it turned around here. The power on this thing is ridiculous. If you haven't tried this already, on the PS5 expanded and enhanced, this thing as HSW goes over 180 miles an hour. Some people say it goes over 200. This is the true test of the wheel, and of course we've already crashed. No surprises there. Keeping in control of your cars whilst on the wheel is a whole different story to being on controller. There's no twitching about on the roads, ducking and diving. You're going to be hitting a lot of pedestrians if you keep your foot down like that. Wow, it just absolutely rips. This combo is crazy. Personally, I prefer driving the slower cars, and of course, driving in first person is almost mandatory if you want the maximum level of immersion. What really surprised me about using the wheel, and something I've really enjoyed about driving with the wheel, is the sheer level of realism it brings to the game. You can no longer perform those twitchy dodges in and out of traffic at 200 miles an hour. If you're going fast and something unexpected happens in front of you, you are going to become worm food. You'll be chilling at the gates of hell with Ozzy Osbourne deep in the shadow realm.
Rock and roll! I'm fucking Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of fucking Darkness.
Driving with the wheel really forces you to have a much more realistic approach to surviving on the roads of Los Santos, which is a totally unique experience. And for a game that is now 13 years old, who would have thought you could bring another new lease of life to such an old game? I'm just hoping that GTA 6 provides wheel support from day one. There's really no reason it shouldn't, seeing as GTA is and always has been primarily a driving game. But if not, well, you will have the setup ready to roll. Let me tell you, it's going to be epic using this in GTA 6. So I guess the big question is, was it worth it? And for me, Absolutely. There's nothing that even comes close to driving in the world of Grand Theft Auto, and this just makes the immersion of the world to another level. It's not cheap and it's pretty damn complicated, but that's just what it takes to get this experience, which for me is honestly priceless. And on top of that, considering GTA 4 is also going to be ported over to the PS5 and the new game on the horizon, I'd highly recommend this to anybody who's considering it. Alright guys, well if you found this helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, ask away in the comments and I'll help as many of you as I can. Thanks for watching and have an awesome day.